Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number 378. And so I would like you to sell me this pen, right? You've all seen that. So today I want to talk a little bit about sales, right? Because I have come to understand that I'm pretty darn good at it. And when I really started to think about why, there are a few things that I think that I do or that I have done that have allowed me to basically be able to sell what I'm selling. You know, whether or not it's skincare, whether or not it's underwear, you know, it doesn't matter, right? If I have a product that I believe in and I do a great job sort of talking about the benefits and how it's going to make you feel or the problem it's going to solve, I end up selling it. But if you're really incredible at sales and closing and being able to convince somebody to buy something that you're talking about, a lot of people will buy on the first time you actually talk about it. And that is one of the things that I have basically, one of the reasons why I've had the sponsors that I have for as long as I have is because I still convert, and I convert at a very high percentage rate. And the reason is because of a few of the things that I do, a few things I don't do, and my audience, because that's something else you need to understand. Like, who you're talking to is going to be incredibly important in terms of selling anybody anything. If you're talking to somebody, like if I'm trying to sell Tiege Hanley to a 12-year-old who doesn't have a wrinkle on their face, it's not going to be the same. Now, some of them will buy because they want to be associated with something that I'm talking about, or they just like me or like you enough in order to want to be a part of whatever club or thing that product that you're selling them makes them feel like they belong to. Which brings me to something I just want to address. Like, why do people buy things, right? Two reasons, in my opinion. It's to solve a problem or to make somebody feel good. And if you combine the two, solve a problem, make somebody feel good into one product, and you are great at talking about it and explaining it and giving people the value of what they're going to expect or get from whatever they're getting and really talk it up, right? You're going to sell a gazillion of them. And that's one of the things in kind of the nuances to brands, right? We don't a lot of times buy the product, we buy the brand, we buy the reputation. And now with social media and reviews, we're buying what our friends are saying are good. And that's one of the big takeaways. You've got to be able to sell something that is high quality, right? Because in the world of reviews, it used to be, in the old days, the brands that had the biggest advertising budget could win, right? They would put the most billboards up, they would do the most advertisements on the TV, they would have brand placement, they would have celebrity endorsements. But now in the world of social media, it's not that way. Now the big brands do well still, but we have started buying things very differently today than we used to and than we ever have. One of the reasons is because of reviews, right? Peer reviews. We look for them. If a brand doesn't have any stars on Amazon or a product, we're not buying it, compared to the one that has 5 stars and it's been reviewed by 37,000 of our friends or our peers or people that are like us. We 100% of the time are going to choose that one. The other thing that encourages us to buy are people that we feel or brands that we feel are similar to us. And that's one of the reasons why Tiege Hanley has been so incredibly popular and powerful and why we've sold so much is because when I started talking about it, right, I was like you. I'm like you. I'm not, L'Oreal. I'm not a big skincare company. I'm Alpha. I'm Aaron. And through history, you have learned that I don't talk about products or shit that I don't believe in, which brings me to the first thing and the first reason why I'm successful at selling is that I'm credible. I only promote products that I truly believe in and see value in. And that's kind of the first takeaway. If you are somebody that can make a lot of money selling X, but it's a shit product, you may sell a few of them, but you're never going to have the buy-in or you're going to lose credibility from the people that you're actually selling them to or your customers. And so good luck, congratulations, you sold one, but you're not going to sell 10. They're not going to come back for the next time you want to sell them something. For me, I've always maintained my credibility. There was one product in the history of the products that I have promoted that I should not have promoted. And you know what? The video isn't up anymore because as soon as I posted it, I didn't feel good. I was like, they're going to pay me a lot of money. I might as well just take it. And I did it for the money as opposed to helping my customer solve a problem, which is the second takeaway from my sales strategy. Everything that I talk about, every story that I am painting or picture I'm painting when it comes to a product or something that I'm selling solves a problem or is going to make somebody feel good. Like we said, there are two reasons people buy things. It's either going to solve a problem they have or it's going to make them feel good, right? Make them feel good about the way they look, make them feel good about like whatever, right? Their image, their self-esteem, like whatever it may be. And when you can combine the two, boom, super powerful, right? And so for me, I talk about the benefits of a product, but I also connect it to a story or I help people solve problems that they may be facing, right? Every single video that I do is pretty much identify a problem, talk about how to solve it. That's it. Like two things, right? And so when I integrate a product or a promotion, it always connects, the dots always connect. One of the reasons why a lot of these people that have brand deals or selling things don't do a great job in terms of conversion is because they're doing it as like a spot. Like today's video is brought to you by, Tiege Hanley. It's going to make you feel sexy and handsome. And now let's get to our whatever we're going to do. They do it at the beginning or whatever they do. And you forgot about it. As soon as they're done talking about it, you're forgetting about it. It's not necessarily solving a problem. For me, I am helping the people that I'm talking to, my friends, solve a problem, which brings me to the next thing. I have built a reputation of being true. I've built a reputation of being honest, vulnerable, and share my experiences like I'm your friend, right? And if you're talking to a friend and you maintain that level of compassion, not to mention that level of respect, it's amazingly powerful. And it's not bullshit. That's the other thing. People can sniff out bullshit. I have never lied to you. I have never lied to my audience to try and get them to do something or to basically make myself a better person or to feel better. Truth. If you lead with the truth, whether or not they want to hear it or they don't want to hear it, if you're honest and you're vulnerable and you're authentic, those three things are going to get you a very, very, very far away when it comes to being an incredible salesperson. But this brings me to another point. You don't start a relationship trying to sell somebody. Just like when you first meet a woman, right? You don't go up and be like, hi, let's go home and have sex, right? Wait a second. Hold up. You're like maybe that'll work like once in a while if you're like super jacked and chiseled and she's not really like, it's probably not the first time is what I'm trying to say. But that's not how you try to get spicy somebody into bed, right? You gotta introduce yourself. Hi, make small talk, talk a little bit, find out about them. Maybe go out a few times, date a little bit, court them. And then when the time and the moment is right, you freaking plan it on their ass. I told you, this is the Alpha M strategy for selling a lot of shit, gentlemen. It's like dating. It's like anything, right? You got to build that relationship. You've got to build the respect. You've got to build an affirmation for me and I for you. And if you can do that, game over. You win. And for me, the other thing that I do is I commit. When I talk about something, it's not, you can tell, right? You can tell it's not like, yeah, I kind of like my Pixel. No, I'm like, fucking, it's a Pixel, bitch. I love it. It's amazing. I love the camera. It's so awesome. Oh my God, if you don't have a Pixel, what are you doing? Like, I don't even know you if you have an iPhone. Commit to the story, commit to what you're talking about, commit and be passionate about whatever you're selling. That's the reason why I'm doing so well with these Bosley commercials, right? You guys may know or have seen me on late night television, not kidding, like sports and stuff, but I've been a spokesperson for Bosley, right? Now, how did it start? Well, it started because I was just talking about Bosley and I love what they do because I know the value that they bring. I know that hair loss is a huge, crazy confidence killer. I'm super paranoid about it, always looking and checking and making sure, right? I've always been worried about hair loss. I literally went to the doctor when I was 19 years old when I went to college to get a prescription of Rogaine just in case. Like, that's me. So when I talk about Bosley, I know that it affects so many guys. I know that hair loss is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, confidence killer in men. And so when I talk about it, even though I have not had hair transplants or plugs or used them in terms of their what they do, right? It doesn't mean that I don't understand or they're not the first freaking place I'm going if I ever show the first signs of hair loss, right? That's me, of course. And so when I talk about it, I'm passionate about it because I know what happens to guys when they start to lose their hair. I should say I can empathize If you can empathize with somebody, which means basically get into their emotions, get into their feelings, get into their head, right? If you can empathize with somebody, you're going to be able to better sell them. You're also going to be able to connect with them. And that's the thing. If you can connect with somebody, be able to carry a conversation or talk to them and connect with them on a deeper level and not just, hi, my name's Alpha, good to meet you. Yeah, I sell insurance. Yeah, it's great to meet you. I'd love to get your card. And if you ever need, whatever. No. But if I empathize with somebody, it's like, oh, how are you doing? Really? What'd you do this weekend? Really? That's amazing. You lost your cat? Oh my God. I can't imagine. See, alpha strategy. I love my cats. Anyway, I mean my wife's cats. Hold on, I just realized I don't have one of my lights facing or on. All right, next thing. Next alpha strategy, right, is don't be a scumbag. I know it's crazy, but don't be a scumbag. There's so many sleazy car salesmen or people that you associate with being sleazy because they literally will say whatever they need to say in order to get you to buy something. That is not the way to sell something. It's not the way to successfully make a career out of selling something, right? You've got to not be a scumbag, which means you've got to be honest, you've got to be open, you've got to be willing to basically, tell them the truth. Gentlemen, the truth will win, I'm telling you. The next thing is you got to look credible. You got to look the part. If you look sloppy and nasty and like somebody doesn't want to hang out with you, they're not going to buy anything from you. You've got to look respectable. You've got to be well groomed. You've got to have a decent style about you. If you're trying to sell a fitness program, you better not be 250 pounds overweight. You're not credible. You don't look credible. You don't practice what you preach. And for me, that was always another thing, right? I'm selling things that I resonate with, right? I love watches. I love underwear. I love jeans. I love boots. I love leather jackets. I love skincare and grooming products and fragrance. It's stuff that I connect with and I resonate with. And so, of course, I'm going to be much better suited to talk about those things. Now, one of the things that people bitch about, they're like, wait a second, back to the Bosley thing. People will say, wait a second, hold up, false advertising. You haven't had a hair transplant. I said, wait a second. Who do you want selling your hair product, right? Or hair restoration? Somebody who's bald or me? They say it on the screen that I'm not actually a client, but whatever. The reason why, it's not because of my hair that I'm able to be the best converting ad for them ever, and Bosley's been around for over 45 years. The reason is because of the way that I connect, the way that I commit. I am passionate, which is the next takeaway. If you are passionate about something, people can tell. People can also tell when it's fake passion, right? But when I'm talking, when I'm passionate, when I'm getting it out there, it is like coming out of me. It's like I'm speaking in sales tongue. I just spit, sorry. But that's the thing. The other thing that I just did was apologize, right? If you screw up or they buy something you don't like or whatever it may be, hey, I'm sorry. I've recommended some products and some companies that I ended up having to go back and say, hey, I know I talked about this, but this is the situation we got going on. And the one that's sticking out to me is Combat Gent, right? I love the brand. I love the company. I went out there. I talked to them. I toured their facility. And they were great. At the time, it was a super affordable suit and clothing and all that good stuff. But then all of a sudden, I start hearing all these messages and comments and seeing on message boards that they're like not providing the suits and people are trying to have weddings and they bought the tuxes and they're not showing up. And I'm like, wait a second. I can't recommend this company that is not treating my customers and my friends the way that I would want them to be treated. It's about protecting people as well. You protect your friends, right? From making bad choices or from doing something that may end up hurting them or whatever it may be. And so let me think, what other things do I do that have allowed me to sell a lot of shit? Vulnerability. I guess that's kind of that's something that I think is crazy powerful, right? And the reason is, well, there are a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is because when you're vulnerable, when you allow people to see you, I'm not saying that you need to cry like I do, but we have been living in such a time where image is more important than substance, right? Style over substance, right? You want to look a certain way. You want to act a certain way. You want to present an air of mystique or whatever, like you're like perfect. And that is something that people can't relate to, right? It might be something to think that you want to strive for or achieve, but people can't relate to that. But what they can relate to is honesty and vulnerability and struggle, and the fact that you're having a hard time. It's okay to say you're having a hard time. If you need help, it's okay to say, hey, I need help, right? And so for me, early on, from a very early age, I was very comfortable sharing good, but also the bad. And I think that there's not many people that would say that, like, I haven't been vulnerable. I will tell you things about myself. And the idea is that, yeah, some of the things I talk about, like me getting cheated on by my ex-girlfriend like 5 times and catching her and taking her back, things like that, not easy to say, not easy to talk about, because it's truly embarrassing. But the reason why I do it is because I know that it's going to help at least one person. If I can help one person, and that is, I guess, where I need to wrap this up. If you can help somebody in the process of selling them something, that's a win-win, right? And so for me, it's always been about trying to add value and trying to help people. And as a result, expose them to products that I find that I love, that I think are awesome. And if they choose to buy it and spend their hard-earned money, I'm going to do my job and my best to make sure that the products that I'm talking about and selling and recommending are high quality and will solve a problem or make them feel good. And truthfully, I think that is what we ultimately do when we buy anything. We're buying it to solve a problem or make ourselves feel good. And now, what I want to do, I don't have any idea how long this vlog is going to be, but I told you I'd tell you how to sell a lot of shit. That's it. If you dug that and that was at all valuable, why don't you drop this video one of these? I appreciate it. If you have a business question, this vlog is all about helping you. Once again, helping. That's the reason why we had 1,000 people with Tiege Hanley, right? We were bringing you into our world. We were being vulnerable. We were talking about the ups and the downs and the pitfalls of this business and this brand that we were trying to develop, right? Once again, it's about being vulnerable, being honest, and being real. If you do that, I'm telling you, it goes a hell of a long way. And you'll also make deeper connections with friends and people. Anyway, if you have a business question, what? I'm going all philosophical today. If you have a business question, down below, start it with business question and ask your question. Each week we try to get to some of them. This week is no exception, even though this may be a long vlog. All right. The first business question comes from our friend Zerbia07. He says, how do you decide if a new upcoming technology idea is a gimmick or worth to invest in? For example, Facebook changed its name to Meta from Metaverse, and now they're kind of going away from it. Big money invested, but nothing seems to come out. How do you make decisions for this kind of thing? So this is a really good question. I call it the shiny object scenario, right? And this is one that I talked to Kelly about, right? Because sometimes you'll see things, right? And it's the newest, latest, greatest, sexiest, like, oh my God, the person that's selling it or telling you has a reason. Like, what is the motivation, right? You've got to understand and identify that. When you're buying or selling or thinking about investing in something, what is the person's motivation for telling you? If they're honest and upfront about, hey, I want you to buy this because I want to make a commission or whatever, then great. And that was one of the issues when the mommy bloggers and a lot of these that little kid who did like toy reviews and stuff, I forget his name, they got in trouble because they were acting like it wasn't sponsored, right? They're acting like, oh, I just love Starbucks coffee. It's the best. And the truth is they paid them 50 grand, right? You got to be honest. Anyway, what is somebody's motivation for trying to talk about it or sell it? Shiny object syndrome is basically when you get distracted by things easily and often, right? It's very easy to get distracted by new things that seem sexy, right? But you need to understand that, the amount of time and energy that you're going to put into chasing these shiny objects, right? Could that time, money, resource, energy, everything be better focused on the things that you've been doing and the things that have been working, right? Because there is no silver bullet or magic bullet, right? It's a lot of things that you've got to put together in order to make something work. In terms of the metaverse universe, I never understood it to begin with. And I am also not an early adopter to pretty much anything. The only thing I was ever an early adopter on, honestly, was YouTube. Everything else, I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm literally like worse than my grandparents, right? But that's one of the things. Like when you're an early adopter, you're going to catch on to things that work sometimes, but other times you may be doing something and chase or go down a rabbit hole of something that's going to end up just like going away or not providing or providing any value or future benefit. But so I would say stay focused on the things that matter. If there's something compelling and you start dabbling or like this AI technology, like how can you use it? I've seen people that said, it is the best, amazing, it's going to solve it. Well, okay. A, why are they saying that? Number two, I think there's certain industries or certain things that it is going to help and change. But, if you go in and ask it something like, hey, what do I wear on a date? It's going to be like, oh, you need to be comfortable and wear something that makes you feel comfortable. Like it's not able to finesse, right? And that's something that we as creatures, we need. It's the finesse, it's the sexiness, right? You want an article about, like how to match a tie or wear to suit, like, yeah, it can do that because it's going to basically take all the information from everywhere and put it together and give you something good. But when it comes to actually like what looks better, can't do that. Only we can do that. Ooh, excuse me. Anyway, that didn't really answer your question. But for us and me, it's about staying focused and doing the things that aren't necessarily sexy, but over time, all the little wins will raise the ship and you will be more successful long term. There is no magic secret bullet. One of the things that has helped myself and Tiege in terms of technology or platforms has been Amazon. Early on, I don't want to be on Amazon, but you're like, you know what? That's where people are shopping. You might as well adjust or die. The next business question comes from our friend Shalin Bangalore 3738. What's up? I butcher the name, but I nail the numbers. Anyway, he says, now that you've been an online entrepreneur and men's lifestyle influencer for quite some time now, how have you managed to deal with all of the publicity it comes with so well? Okay, this is a good question. I know that it can be challenging at times to put yourself in front of a big platform like YouTube. What type of advice would you give to somebody who wants to build businesses around their self-image? Are there any things you do specifically to continue being on social media without it affecting you too much mentally? So it does affect you mentally. let me just take the mystery away. It definitely affects you mentally. Even if I don't read comments like I used to, it still affects you. You see the negative ones, they poke through, you get emails, like whatever. It does affect you. I'm not like a super celebrity or anything like that. I get recognized when I go out if I'm in a place where they're, young dudes. And now that I'm on TikTok, last night, something that doesn't happen often, two like 14-year-old girls like came out. They're like, "Oh my God, you're on TikTok. I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I've started to get recognized by the younger generation on TikTok because I have over 1 million subscribers there. It's just one of those things where it's awesome. I still really enjoy when I get recognized and meeting people at the gym and stuff like that. I usually absolutely love it. There haven't been many times where it's been like, that was weird. That was some weird people. But anyway, it's a price that you pay. It's the price that you pay knowing that you're going to, put yourself out there. And so for me, it's always like, it's, as Garth Brooks says, there's the good and the bad, right? If you ever watch the Garth Brooks documentary, I was never a huge Garth Brooks fan, but now I love him. And it was because of this documentary. With the good, there always is bad, right? Two sides of the coin. You got to understand that, yes, social media is amazing, right? It can allow you to do super great things. It can allow you to build businesses and brands and develop friendships and meet people. But on the flip side, there's a lot of negativity that comes and a lot of emotional and mental stress that comes along with it as well. And for me, one of the things that has helped me is, there are two things. Number one, don't be somebody or act like you're somebody that you're not. I've said this before. YouTube has made me a better person because I never wanted to meet somebody and basically, they see one person or I'm saying one thing and then they meet me and I'm a totally different person or I'm a dick, right? Once again, it boils down to authenticity. Be honest with who you are. That's tip number one. And tip number two is protect your brand. And that's something that my friend Steve always will talk about. Like, I will get passionate about something. I'll film a video and I'm like pissed off at something and I'll send it to him or I'll say, hey, I did a video. He's like, does it protect your brand? Are you protecting your brand? And for me, it always was, you know what? It's better safe than sorry. I know that in today's world, people are building brands off of being controversial or being a specific type of person, like the manosphere. I think the manosphere is a really toxic, weird place, if I'm being honest. And the people that are talking about it and being kind of the ringleaders, you know, what is their motivation? What is their motivation? Is it to make money off of their outrage? Is it to make money off of the people that are following them and believe them? Yes. The answer is yes. The next email, let's try that again. The next business question is from our friend MyFreightNetwork.com. He says, Aaron, how did it go for year-end 2022 for Enemy? Any remaining inventory? Did you get rid of the volume you wanted? Long-time fan, Paul. What's up, Paul? I sold 100% of everything I had in stock, which was awesome. It was so awesome. I could have sold more, honestly, but I was going out of business. And so I was discounting the prices, but yeah, I sold everything, which was amazing. The only thing I was left with were some wallets, about 1,000 wallets, which not that big of a deal considering, you know, what I had in terms of, you know, cash tied up in those like over 4,000 sunglasses. It was a lot. And so we still have the wallets, a few wallets that we're selling at Pete and Paige. We're using them as like gifts and giveaways. And they are like these wallets and like slim wallets and stuff. They are like, they're like super badass. So if you want one, PeteandPager.com. Anyway, it was awesome. I have you guys to thank. Thank you so much. And at times I'm a little bit sad. I'm a little bit sad that I don't have it anymore, but that is not like, I don't think about it all that much. Like, it's like, I'm a little sad just because it was cool and the sunglasses were sick, but it sucked. That business was hard as hell. Man, there are a lot more business questions. So why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? I've talked a lot this vlog. If I didn't get to your business question or you have a new one, down below, start it with business question and ask it. Each week, I promise, we try to get to some of them. This week, I talked a lot, but hopefully it was valuable and you got a little insight as to how I sell so much shit. Gentlemen, if you've got a business question down below, start with business question. Next week, we'll answer them. I promise. And as always, we love you more than our double monk strap shoes. You rock.